Alright guys, today we're going to take a look at Nitsan's forehand, and although it looks great in this video, I'm going to show you why his technique is not technically sound and why it's holding him back. So I'm going to start by looking at some old video footage because that's going to help highlight the issue that he still has. It's a little bit more obvious in the older stuff, in the older videos, but he's still doing the same thing and it's still preventing him from hitting a world-class forehand. So basically his kinetic chain is flawed. He actually doesn't have it in the right order. So if we simplify the kinetic chain, it would be using your legs, rotating your body, supinating the arm, striking the ball, finishing with pronation. Now what he does, and he's done it from day one and he's still doing it, is using the legs, supinating the arm, then rotating. Now he either has to push through the strike or do some kind of fake pronation, which is unstable. So this is Nitsan's forehand from when I first met him. I guess he was about 17 years old. I think he's 21, 22 now. And you can see this is not technically sound, and the others look far better than this. But the issue is, the thing he's doing here is still prevalent in his other strokes. And what we see is this drop of the elbow in here, and the lag of the racket, so the racket laying back, without it happening because of the body turning. He's just done it as a sort of independent move. Then he's going to rotate and then he's going to push through the strike. So he's not like throwing or accelerating the racket into the shot because he's not accelerating into this supination. He's just dropped it in here. So he struggles to lay the racket back. The elbow's close to him and now he's just going to rotate his body. Alright, so as we progress, this next video you're going to see here, we did this straight away. You know, real quick we were able to go from that to this. Now this looks better, clearly. But it's still the same thing. Well, it's not the same thing, but he's still got the same issue in terms of the kinetic chain. He just drops the elbow in here, rather than creating that lag and the supination of the arm by rotating the hip. So moving the body, which is why he gets such little the racket doesn't lay back here. Like this angle could be like 90 degrees between the arm and the racket laying back. He's hardly got the racket laid back at all. So from here I guess he gets a bit more there, but again there's not enough lag because he hasn't initiated it by turning his body and that initiating the supination, that laying the racket back and then firing the shot. So he's just dropped the arm into the body and now he's going to rotate. Now he does it pretty good. He looks great. He's like the greatest faker in the world. But one issue, well, there's a lot of issues with this and we'll keep watching videos. Again, little lag. But to get topspin, he tends to have to just close the racket head because his elbow is really low. And we're going to see better examples of this. But he ends up struggling to pronate the arm through the shot, but because he hasn't done the other stuff that I've already spoke about. So we'll move on to another shot here. So if we take a look at these shots here, they look great. Like it looks like he's doing things right. He understands what he's supposed to look like. He knows what the pros look like, because I've pointed out your stroke doesn't look like what these guys are doing, so he's trying to imitate it. But the error is still there. So let's take a look. We have the same issue where beautiful position here, but he's not going to rotate. I would already be rotating. Forget about me. The best players in the world would already be rotating the body and the hips here. He's already supinated the arm. Now he's using more risk because again it's been pointed out to him that you don't have this angle. So now he's faked it. He's done it without initiating it with the body. We'll talk about some of the body things maybe another time. He's definitely always stiff on this right leg, but he's got to rotate the hips into that and get off of that side. But the issue here is, look how when he comes through with the pronation, how low this elbow is here. So he's not really pronating the arm, and again that leads to a lot of instability at other times because his hand's not really behind the shot. He's having to work the wrist to get the kind of pronation look that he's going for. It doesn't always work out. Look at this next one. Again, supinate way behind him. And here, all he wants to do is push through, because that's what he's set himself up for. But he's trying to rotate, and it's just an awkward, wristy pronation. Now, as he backs up to this next one here, this is when you're moving around on the court, you get into some serious problems, because he doesn't, again, he hasn't rotated into this shot. He should be rotating in by now. He's struggling. Now he's behind himself. Now he just has to sort of jump. And usually, as I said, in a match, he's just going to jump and stay stiff. Right here, he's focusing on pronating. We'll have a look at some issues that he actually has when he's playing a real match here. So, doing the same thing with the supination, dropping the arm in. Then as he's trying to get power from this position, he's having to sort of throw the kitchen sink at it. Now look at the lack of pronation going through this shot, because he drops it in here and then he's like, go, and jumps and fires throws his body into it, but he doesn't get the power with the amount of energy he's putting into the shot, because he's not actually throwing the arm and the racket at the ball. Again, not a great position. This needs to happen because he's rotated. So he's got the kinetic chain backwards. And again, it's just a bit of a push. It's okay. It's fine. He's not hitting that ball very hard though. And he knows this. Like that ball, that shot there, look at the energy he put into that shot and how slow it went. And I see this all the time. And more importantly, so does he. I mean, that's a slow shot. You can get that kind of power doing pretty much anything. But dropped it in here. Kinetic chain's wrong. He's gone legs, arm, rotate, and now he just struggles to pronate because it becomes a push. If he went legs, turn, supinate, now we've got a throwing motion. Now you can release. Now the pronation happens naturally. Same push. Legs, get tall, drop your arm in, turn, push, side spin, glancing blow, slow. The last thing I want to point out is that this happens a lot, where even though the ball is in the middle of the racket and even though you're really strong, we get that a lot. And this is because of the kinetic chain. Because you're struggling to turn, supinate, get that ball in front of you and be able to turn the racket over the way you know you should with pronation, you have to be so loose with the hand in order to work the racket across your body. Like, as I said, it's a little bit fake. You're having to do it with your wrist. And the consequence of that is this kind of racket instability happens a lot to you, as you know. But that's because you're not in that stable position and you're using a lot of workarounds with your wrist to compensate for the lack of a real kinetic chain. Now, if someone says to you, get the ball out in front, get your contact point in front, that's what we want. But you got to understand that it's the kinetic chain that's not allowing you to get that contact point in front of you, which would make it far easier to rotate your arm, with your forearm rather than with your wrist. Or alternatively, as I've pointed out, when you're not doing it with your wrist and you're in a match and you want a bit more stability, what you do is push. You keep everything locked and you just keep the racket head pushing through the strike. So both of those scenarios aren't good. Wristy pronation, pushing through the shot, both not ideal. Get your kinetic chain right, fire the hips, supinate the arm, get that ball in front, release into the shot, and you're on your way. But let's take a look at some pros doing this. Right, a couple of great examples here, or a few great examples from some awesome players with obviously perfect kinetic chains. The first thing that's going to move here is the body. The arms have to be passive to allow the body to rotate and the arm to supinate. So this position here where the lag happens to the side. You know, the arm here is parallel to the baseline. Something you just don't do, Nitsan. This is a great position down from here. Obviously the contact point's going to get in front. His right shoulder is actually in front of his left, contact point in front. Obviously the arm's going to pronate easily from there. So again, perfect kinetic chain. I'll just run it through slowly. Fire the hips, supinate the arm, hit the ball, pronate the arm. Easy. Or simple. Simple, not easy. Kyle Edmonds, Englishman. Now look at his arm, not doing anything. Nowhere close to supinating it yet. He's going to rotate the body. That's going to allow him to supinate. Contact point gets further out in front. Allows the arm to rotate. Quick math. And even though he looks a bit goofy sometimes, perfect kinetic chain. Let's go again. Sorry, I'm rewinding it a sec. Arms not doing anything, it's just relaxing. Fire the hips. Supinate the arm. Contact point's gonna get in front of him. Elbow's not pointing like straight down to the floor here. It's, you know, 45 degrees in front, something like that. Arm able to pronate. So by the time I'd made this video, we'd actually been on court, and you can see the progress here. This kinetic chain is far better. It's literally just right, not wrong. You know, it's like binary scale here. The other one was wrong. We got the pieces in the wrong order. This is right. And obviously it can be better, but this is a good start. And it's important to understand that it's really the kinetic chain that's holding him back. I don't know who I'm talking to here. I guess I'll talk to Nitsan. You know, the kinetic chain's holding you back. And to think that it's just, you know, you got to work harder, you got to train more, you got to just, when you're in a match, just believe in yourself, all this stuff. It's almost insulting, because I think mentally you are just a fantastic tennis player, probably the most mentally sound player I've seen in terms of fight and, you know, temperament. You tick a lot of boxes. So to think that you just got to get out there and do it is almost, you know, it's more insulting than me tearing your video to pieces here and me saying, look, you just don't do it right. You know, your shot's just not good enough. So hopefully this helps you to actually just come to terms with what the issue is, understand it's not you, it's just your technique's being built on some a different kind of foundation that's worked for you in the past. Still works, still play well, but if you're trying to get top 500 in the world, you got to get this kinetic chain down. Before I wrap this up, I just want to thank Slavi, a good friend of mine, great tennis coach, and we've spent hours talking about Nitsan's game, really trying to break it down, figure out what he's doing and how we can help him. Let me know if you guys would be interested in seeing this footage, whether that's the on-court stuff or the Zoom video analysis that we've done together. We've got a lot of footage that can be uploaded. Let us know if you guys are interested in actually watching it.
So what you described is him executing a part of the link that's not in order, right? He's trying to supinate way too early, and that's how we know it's fake one. And he doesn't gain from that supination because it's not initiated by his hip. His hip doesn't in turn get power from his legs because it's locked. And because of that, the supination actually doesn't contribute to the shot.
I spoke to him about, like, it's like trying to hit a home run, but really making sure that that ball's going to hit the bat. And then once you feel like, yeah, it's going to hit, go. Obviously, you're not going to hit a home run. So you need to be doing something before that ball gets there. You need to be sort of accelerating into the shot and having the confidence to do so. Now, having said that, it's not just mental with him. It's more of just a breakdown in the kinetic chain. But I think those two are probably two significant factors. I've described Nitsan's forehand is like he's got this whip in his hand and he just drops it in here and then just throws the handle of the whip at his opponent. You're not actually moving it like a whip. You're just kind of throwing the handle at the ball, which is
I like
obviously.
that analogy.
And this is where being relaxed helps as well, because the hips turn and you just allow the racket and the arm to just stay there a second. And as the hips turn, the supination happens naturally. You can't be moving it into these positions very easily.
The thing about being relaxed is that it's necessary for the muscle to be activated. If the muscle is not relaxed first, it can't be used. Right?
Mm-hmm.
If a light switch is already on, you can't turn it on. Okay, it has to be off first before you turn it on. The same thing with these muscles. You have to allow the muscles to relax so then you can later use it.